machine that executes at the highest level.
That's where we focus on billions of dollars of real estate.
The chasing business, now all of a sudden I was attracting it.
You're going to get a lot of no's before you get that first yes.
You're not doing consistently.
You're everywhere all the time. People will take you.
You have to outproduce your problem.
It has everything to do with the mindset and the discipline.
Don't try to be making a withdrawal before you've made a deposit.
Focusing on the quality, not the quantity.
Continue to move forward and grow.
What is up, Every Agent Wins fam? Today we have another fantastic show for you. We have a baller out of the Washington, D.C. area, Mr. Daniel Heider. And we're going to be talking about customer service, which I think is kind of a lost art in the real estate game. So Daniel, I have nicknamed and keynoted this guy as creating the Disneyland experience. This guy literally goes above and beyond for customer service, has a hospitality background, and really brought that into the real estate game. And we're also going to be giving you some things to implement into your business in order to gain more business and gain more trust from your customers through customer service. So stick around, check it out after these messages.
So you're a new agent. You don't know where to start. You've done typical agent things like cold calling.
Have you ever thought of selling your home? Hello? Tom?
Hi, looking to sell your home?
And doing open houses. You're not making any progress. So you download the Bellwood agent and you follow directions provided. You find a seller. Bellwood likes the house. Within a few days, you get an accepted contract. You show the house. Bellwood buys the house. You get paid. You relist the property once flipped. You sell the property. You get paid again. You did this with no knowledge or experience. Rinse and repeat.
Hey, Tom. Still looking to sell your home? Bellwood's buying.
What's up? What's up? What's up? What is going on, everybody? This is Ronnie, and this is the Every Agent Wins Show. We are bringing the top real estate talent across the planet into one spot to help you grow your real estate business. And we have a fantastic show for you today. We have Mr. Daniel Heider. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm great, thank you. Thank you so much for having me today.
Oh man, I can't. I've been looking you up, dude, and we don't live in the same town, but I just see that you are crushing it and you're doing things the right way. And we talked a little bit. You haven't even been in the business a whole long time. I think you said 8 years or something like that. But what you're doing is you're really crushing, and you've grown a team, and you're just, your presence online, it really shouts out that you are professional and that you're doing the right things and growing a business the right way. And today what we're going to be talking about is customer service, which I think is kind of a lost art in this business, in sales, and which is such a big deal for referral business and things of that sort. So, tell us a little bit about who you are, and then we can jump into customer service and how we can help some other people grow their businesses and referral businesses through that experience.
Yeah, sure. Well, again, thank you so much for seeking me out. I don't know how you met me or how we connected, but it's
somehow on Facebook I found you, bro.
Cool. I'm glad to see that it's all working. Then.
Yeah.
I run a practice group here in the capital region of Washington, D.C. I'm licensed in D.C., Maryland, and Virginia. I've got 7 folks, including myself. To your earlier point, we're very service heavy. Most of my team is comprised of folks who are in supportive roles to our agents. So last year, we closed 150 888 in sales for year 2020, which was number one in sales, I guess, for TTR Sotheby's International Realty, which is kind of cool because I just started my practice group. Yeah,
that's awesome.
I just started my group about 3 years ago, and most of the folks that are typically sort of at the top of the food chain here have these behemoth teams of 15 plus people, 19, 20 plus people, and we're less than half of that size. So we do a significant amount of business. We're hyper focused on the way that we treat our clients, how we service the deals that we're fortunate enough to get, and we're trending right now to break last year's goal. We're at 70 million under contract year to date, and probably by the end of April, we'll be sort of more on track to do 100. So very much on track.
Yeah,
and I don't take any of it for granted. It's one of those things where, when the business is there, you got to kind of make hay while the sun is shining.
That's exact. And then stack your eggs because there could be some rainy days coming. Hey, so what I think, and you can maybe tell me, is I would imagine a lot of your business comes from referral. Does that sound pretty accurate from the way you treat people?
Most all of my business is referral generated in some capacity. So my personal business, I would tell you probably 98% is all generated through folks that we've already worked with or have established some sort of professional rapport with over the years. If it's a friend or a family member of a friend or somebody who has a colleague that they feel like they can trust us through one avenue, whether it's in seeing our marketing and knowing us personally and referring our name through that channel, or being a direct sort of sphere referral. So yeah, I think you're right in that.
And the reason why I bring that up is because I want people who are listening or watching is Daniel has not been in the business for 20, 30 years like a lot of these people have that are doing business at his level. But what he does is he treats people the right way and creates that experience and makes it like the white glove experience where it is just a fantastic experience throughout and then probably post and before. And it just becomes almost like a Disney excursion type thing. So that and that's what I'm taking.
That comes out, Minnie comes out.
There you go. There you go. All right. So what are some of the things that you guys do on your Heider team that maybe set yourself apart in the customer service space?
Oh man, I think we do a lot that sets ourselves apart. It begins in the very first interaction. I was raised in a family, luckily, that really focused on having great manners and being able to quickly connect with folks.
Right.
Breaking the ice has been something that's always sort of come natural to me, and I have my family to thank for that. But the most important thing that I can say is that service mentality has really been the cornerstone of every opportunity that I've had, and especially being young and operating in a market that is ultra conservative, where most people are sometimes double my age. Is that in order to get the type of opportunity that we're after in the upper bracket market, you really have to sort of know what you're talking about, of course, from a data perspective, but also people need to like you, and they need to know that they can trust you, and then you need to sort of convey a message that you're really good at your job, and that you're likable, and that these folks can trust you. So starting with the first interaction, we're typically doing intake with a buyer or a seller and just trying to get as much data as we can possibly get on that individual. The first question is, how did you hear of us? And usually it's because somebody has referred us, right? And so, I always start off with clients and tell them that, and it's true. It's really the way that I work. That we're not looking to sort of turn a quick buck. There's no financial pressure behind our eyes, thank God. We have a great business, and we're very, very blessed to have that business. But our goal is to not quickly sell a home. Our goal is to delight you, or whomever it is that we're speaking with, so that we get the opportunity to not only serve your family or your business or whoever we're dealing with, but that we earn the right to be introduced to another person as we were introduced to you, hypothetically. right?
And that's what separates you right there is you're not thinking of just that one transaction. And I think that the fortunate part is that you're not have to be financially driven. So you're not thinking that way of I don't just need this sale. You're thinking of, I want to open up your whole entire network so we can potentially service all of them and help these people with an issue that they have is obtaining a home or selling their home.
Definitely. I mean, um, definitely playing the long game is a part of the Heider method.
Right.
And when you're thinking of things, when you think of things long range, it gives you so much more um, of a delta in how you operate day to day. Because when you know you've got something special, when you know that you're building a relationship that is on a bedrock of trust, I don't have to worry about folks out there trying to take business or come up with a way to get in front of one of my clients, because at the end of the day, it's great to treat people well, but what people really are holding on to is value, and it's just a big value game. At the end of the day, customer service is just one spoke to a value proposition. And I know and I believe and I see in just the market share that we have and that's growing for us, is that especially right now, people have service providers like me and the Hyder team are in high demand because folks A, don't have a lot of time, B, they don't want to second guess the type of advice that they're getting from the real estate professional, and C, they want to have fun while they're doing it. And we try to really hit all three of those things. Now, not every client is the same. There are certain
Right.
clients where that value proposition shifts to where you're, instead of being sort of the leading charismatic guy out front that's constantly touching base, you're just the more quiet, sort of invisible handler of the process, right? So it's also understanding when to turn it up and when to turn it down and dial it back, and how to be gracious and hands on without suffocating people. A lot of people I know want to, they're excited about having a deal, and they're just, quite frankly, annoying. These
100%.
folks, they don't want to deal with somebody who's in their ear all the time. And then there are those who really need their hands held. So having that kind of perception and being able to really figure out who your client is and what style they're going to react to is really another spoke of that overall value proposition of service.
I think that's a great point. What you just made is it's not just one cut and dry pace. You have to read people, figure out what their needs are, and interject yourself in those manners. Right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I guess you could treat everybody the same, but that's not how the world works. Everybody's different. Everybody has different needs. So the way that you do that, I think that's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So maybe if you could dive a little deeper into, is there anything specific? Do you guys do any sort of gifts, or do you do any sort of concierge or things of that to separate yourself in the customer service space?
Oh, definitely. I mean, again, another thing that's highly, tailored to an individual client is the way that we, show them that they've made an impact on us and that we care about them. And sometimes that's through gift giving. But I want to just I want to be clear about something, because I feel like recently, people are. I don't want to get typecast as being this guy that just gives extravagant gifts. I'm very much an empath myself,
Mm-hmm.
and I really care about the people that I work with. And most of the time, these folks become very close friends of mine. And I'm at their weddings and their christenings and their birthday parties, and a part of large conversations about their family's real estate portfolio management. And so sometimes it's just about being genuinely thoughtful. And so the thing that I hear a lot is, what kind of gifts do you give? how do you, and that's kind of like a sexy thing, but it's really not. I mean, it's just a matter of it's a product of, in my world, showing somebody that you are listening, that you care. I mean, I just had a very good client of mine who is also a good friend, and she had a baby boy recently, and I mean, I got some things monogrammed for her son at Pottery Barn Kids, a little rocking horse that was like an elephant, like a little elephant towel, for when he comes out of the bath. And that wasn't something that was done strategically, for business. That was just something that I did because I really care about her. And so, a lot of what I'd like to get across in this very practical podcast today for agents and people looking to, kind of take their business up the next level is get into the mindset of how can you really start to, relate to the people that you are servicing, right? Think about what it's like to be somebody who's coming home from the hospital with a newborn baby. What would delight that person? And it's not the same for everyone, right? I mean, we deal with people who have, more challenging personalities, and
Right,
not everybody
absolutely.
gets, not everybody gets a rocking horse with their baby's name on it, right? But I think it's more important to listen to what's important to people. And out of that listening exercise, you can figure out a way to, you know, show them thoughtfully that that you're paying attention to them as a person. So, gift giving is great. But
Yeah, and I like what you're saying
small
is
dimension.
adding value and listening to exactly what I mean. They're going to tell you, right? They're going to tell you where they're at in your life, and especially if you're that person that cares. I mean, you got to find out what's going on in their life, and it's not. And what I like what you said is you're not doing it just for the business. You're doing it because you actually care, and that's the golden ticket right there. Is why people's businesses explode is when they actually care about people.
And I will tell you, there may be people listening to this saying, "Oh, easy for you to just care about people and not really think about the paycheck at the end of the day because you're selling so much." But this was not overwhelmingly not my life experience, right? I don't come from a family that had extraordinary means, and I didn't have my college education paid for. I didn't have these sort of things that I saw were extravagant as a kid given to folks that I knew. And I'm not holding a grudge against that, but what I'm saying is, in order to really in order to adhere to opportunity, you have to look outside of the payday. Because if you had that sort of financial pressure behind your eyes, people can tell. And so you have to get out of that mindset. And you really have to be thinking long range because having sort of the advisory position that most agents do, where if you've established the right amount of trust, you're typically in a position to make or break a situation for a client and really shape the outcome. I mean, I have been in this situation so many times where when I was working predominantly with buyers, when I was walk into a home that may have been a new recent flip, and it looked beautiful from the photos. But I knew, because I'm a scrupulous person, that walking through the house, I could see that there were gaps in the baseboards. I could see that a lot of the workmanship was shoddy. You could see that there was just kind of paint on some of the hardware. And that to me is always a telltale sign that, what's behind the walls probably isn't great, right?
100%.
And so you learn to start asking questions like, please furnish these, please furnish the permits, and learning that a lot of these flips, weren't done properly, and that they weren't done on permit. You have a question to ask yourself there. Am I going to glaze over this and not let this buyer know that this work was done shoddily and it could affect their outcome, or am I going to grab the sale? And you always default to what the right thing is for that person and that client, because at the end of the day, it comes back to you.
Always.
And even more so when there's a hurdle, and you do the right thing and you say, hey, look, I could let you buy, you could buy this house and we could go through the home inspection and they could say that nothing is wrong. But in a couple of years, when the paint starts to peel off the outside, and you realize that the brick and the mortar is starting to deteriorate because it hadn't been repointed, and you didn't know that because a home inspector can't figure that out, and because I, as a real estate agent, can't figure that out, you're going to be left holding this massive financial burden. And I'd like to avert you from that. So for that, I know you like this house; it's really beautiful. I know you can imagine yourself there, but I really think the right thing for you is to keep on looking. When you take that sort of advisory approach to your business, that builds trust exponentially. And then you start to fold in the personal things. Then you start to fold in the, guys, thank you so much for your trust. I really appreciate you listening to me. And I think we really avoided an iceberg with that. And you start to really take sort of a seat in that role that people want you to play. I'm a very vocal person. So a part of what they get from my services is my perspective, is my point of view. And they do that with every other agent too. So I feel like you really have to take that seriously, and you have to put that to work for your clients. Be the leader. Ask the questions that aren't being asked. You're looking out of the window, the place is on an alley. Did you know that every morning on Tuesday and Friday, the trash truck is going to come barreling through here? And I know that you plan on putting your newborn in this room. You have to be that proactive person, right? You have to constantly be six steps ahead of the game to really be providing value. What we're talking about is providing value. And what my team is known for is providing exponential value, and value beyond just here's your fancy gift and my website looks nice. Behind the curtain of what you see online is an operation that is rooted in taking a very serious approach to client advisory, and we're aggressive advocates. And at the end of the day, our business is earned because we do a great business, not because of gifts that we give, even though we do give great gifts and we do think of our clients in a way that we would treat our family. It's really about the advisory role that we play in their lives.
I love it. That's the advocate is I think you're touching on that very properly. Is the advocate role is where you're that person that just gives advice, right? And you even if they don't agree with it, you're telling them because you think it's the right thing to do. I think that's what's really separates.
Definitely.
All right. So we talked a little bit earlier about this white glove experience, and what does that look like? What are your thoughts on what that looks like? What is a white glove experience to you?
A white glove experience is one that the client is never left guessing at any part of the transaction. A white glove experience is having incredible bedside manner when you're talking with a client, when you're advising them, right? I'll never forget one of the most, and this is going to sound silly to you, but I'm going to explain to you why. Okay. Right. I was having an MRI years ago. I'd never had an MRI before. Okay. Sure. Never in my life. So from the looks of it, I thought you go into this machine, you lay there, it's done. You have to be still, it's done. I go into the MRI, they strap me down, right? They strap down my feet, they strap down my chest, they strap down my arms. They put these horrible earphones over my head that were like horrible. Of course, I couldn't adjust them because my arms were strapped. So one is like here, one is there, and they're like old and they hurt and they're like on my head. And I slowly go into this machine with this music that's blaring in my ears. Okay. And the machine starts going and vibrating and making all these sounds. And it was like the most jarring experience ever. And it really kind of messed with me, right? I totally freaked out. And so the whole thing is that if you're a real estate agent, you are 100% you have to spell out the process for people. My process would have been different on that MRI machine if that person who was sitting me down said, look, have you ever had an MRI before? Okay, no. Here's what's going to happen, right? I'm going to lay you down on this, and it's going to take about 30 minutes. You got to be really, really still, all right? I'm going to put these on your head. Is that comfortable for you? Is the volume okay? Okay. It's going to be really loud and it's going to be jarring and it's going to shake you. All right. But that's totally normal. Know that we do this every single day, and you're going to come out and you're going to be done. And I'm going to send this scan over to the doctor. He's going to then, look it over with you, and you'll be out of here in the next hour and a half. Right? Things would have been completely different. White glove service is knowing and having the empathy and understanding of what somebody is going through, and not only servicing them and letting them know what's on the horizon and what situations may unfold and how you're going to combat those situations and what the paperwork process is like, but also folding into that process a really pleasant experience of for instance, anytime that I list a home, if you're on my website, you see my former assistant Jordan shows up to the front door of this couple with this beautiful Lauderay hat box and a little bunny. Right? Every single time I get a listing, I always send a beautiful, fabulous, hat box, or depending on the size of the listing, a treat to say thank you with a handwritten note.
Yep.
Dear Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I just want to say, we will not let you down. You've really put that trust in good hands, and thank you so much for choosing me, and blah, blah, blah. And so that begins the steps of service, right? So when they're looking for property, making sure that you're picking them up in a car that's clean, in a car that's comfortable. This is kind of where hospitality bleeds into my own sort of fundamental of servicing clients. But, you're handing them an envelope that is, isn't smudged, and it's nice and crisp, and it has every listing that they're going to see in chronological order that day with everything highlighted. So it's easy for them to move through the listings and pay attention to the square footage, pay attention to, the year that the home was built, how many days it's been on market, right? Giving them a pen to make sure that they can take notes, explaining to them, by the way, today we're going to see 7 listings. And through this process, these can kind of get blurry. So I've numbered every single property in order for you in the top left-hand corner. And I put this pen in so you can take notes, so that when you go home tonight and you're evaluating everything, it'll be really easy for you, right? And then you get home and you're following up with them, right? You're following up with them. Then let's fast forward through the process. They write an offer, okay? You're guiding them through the offer process. You're selecting a great, home inspector with them. You're telling them why you're selecting that home inspector, and then then fast forward. You get the deal ratified. You send them a total breakdown of everything that's going on. Congratulations, Justin and Megan. I think you really got an amazing deal. The ratified price is, $1,250,000. We're going to be settling at this settlement company on this date. Your contingency date for the home inspection is this and this and this. Spelling it out for them, right?
So is that an email that you send out?
An email, yes. So we send out an email to document it, and then we're putting calendar invites on their schedule, so that they know when certain things expire. And then we're preactively following up with the lender. We're following up with people. We're making sure that their process is going smoothly. We're asking them if we can refer them, a mover, a plumber, a designer, somebody that can help make their process easier, and then come settlement date, we're showing up, we're reviewing the HUD. Obviously, we're doing all those things that most folks do. But on the day that they're moving in, we're catering their move, right? So we find out how many movers they have on that day, and I typically go to a fabulous little sandwich shop that's close by. Have my assistant go there and pick up a lot of sandwiches and bottles of water for the movers, and we cater the whole move, so they don't have to worry about feeding their movers. And it provides an even smoother service experience for them, and then of course making sure that they're in your database, so that they're constantly getting the latest news from you, thanking them, calling them, reiterating so much how you appreciate them. I mean, white glove service is being able to do anything for anyone at any time. And so I take that role seriously. And most real estate agents are embedded into their communities. They know the restaurants to go to. They know the players in the community. And if we can act as a lightning rod for connectivity to help better people's experience, then that's what we do. I've gotten lots of people jobs and internships, and I like to connect people. So you have to just think in a different dimension if you want to apply my steps of service into your business today. And that's what we think about every day. How can we step it up?
I love it, man. Just trying to get better every time. How can you make that experience better? And that, therefore, is a byproduct of more business with you just being who you are. And that's what's cool about your business. All right. So you've given a bunch of things. If you had like one or two things, and you had maybe a newer agent or an agent that's just trying to break to that next level, what were some service things that they can implement today in order to help their business either grow or get to that next level?
I would tell them to make sure that they feel that they're the most valuable person in that person's professional cadre when you're working with them, especially if you're a new agent, right? Especially if you don't have business. If you got one buyer, okay, then that is such an amazing opportunity to really try to duplicate that relationship. Because if you look at it as more than just a transaction, as you are this amazing advisor who's adding so much value, and you're constantly listening and you're constantly pouring yourself into all of the details that this person is experiencing, I say pay attention to the details. Pay attention to the list of properties that you're showing this buyer. It costs you nothing to go on the internet and to research every single listing that you're going to be showing that person, and to practice and to understand the data of every single listing that you're going to show them in that day, right? If you do not have 1 million clients, it's such a grand opportunity to really blow people out of the water, right? I mean, I look at it this way. I tend to think in restaurant analogies because I have that hospitable sort of restaurant thing in my bones, right? It'd be like working in the best fine dining restaurant in town, okay? And you only have one table to take care of. Only one table. I'm working in a skyscraper full of tables right now, okay? And I'm running around and I'm trying to make sure everyone is taken care of. And that's the business that I've built. But you listening to this right now, starting your business, having that one client, you are the impresario, the maitre d', the chef, you are everything. So you have to make sure you spell out exactly what is going on and be so fabulous in doing it. When you put that plate on the table that signifies whatever, that house that you're walking into, make sure you let them know that this building was built in 1936. It's retraded 4 times since then. There's been 4 families that have lived in it. And it's recently been gutted and rehabbed by ABC Development. It's 12,000 square feet. It has Hello windows. But know what you are talking about. Step up your game. Put in the work. Get it done. Because that's what's going to blow someone's mind. That's what's going to get them talking when they're at their job, or they're on the golf course talking about how their real estate experience is going, or talking to somebody who is curious about their experience. People that are looking for property, most people in their lives are asking them, "Hey, how's the house search going?" And think about it. I mean, they could say, "Man, we have the best real estate agent ever. We have the best real estate agent ever."
Sure.
He numbers everything. He knows everything about everything. He's super attentive. He listens to what we're saying. He's really diverted some big obstacles for us. He's super detailed. That is somebody who's going to be a walking, talking poster child for you and your business forever if you maintain it, if you are really after it and you really maintain it. So my advice is to make sure that you are treating every single person like they're the only person that exists in the world, and do whatever you have to do to constantly convey that message that it's all about them and that you are the best service provider and that there's nobody better than you through your actions.
Bro, you're the Disneyland of real estate. You are the
Well, I hope so.
Disneyland of real estate, man. That's
I
great.
hope
Dude.
so.
No, that's great. No, and that's something somebody can implement today. Day one is change your mindset to make sure that that person is the one person they feel like they are the only person on this earth. That is amazing, bro. I love it. I love it. All right, so I want to wrap this thing up, but I definitely want to ask you one more question. Is I always find when I interview people, most people that are at your level or above or just below or whatever it is at a higher level in any organization, any real estate firm, whatever it is, whatever job they're doing, they're usually a reader or they do research or they watch podcasts or whatever it is. Is there somebody that has influenced you through reading, podcasts, whatever it is, that has changed your life that you could pass on to change somebody else's life listening?
Absolutely. It's Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yep.
I mean, and then, a little bit more existential. I think the most basic book that anybody can read on sort of manifesting the life that you want is The Secret.
I love that.
Just
that one.
believing, having faith that you can really make anything happen, and really truly focusing on that, and not, and just starting to unlock the divine gifts that every single human has that they can tap into to create the world that they want to live in.
That's it. What you put out is what you get back. The Secret. I love that. I love
exactly
that
right.
one. I love it so much. That's one of my favorites. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you. You are a wealth of knowledge, and I think customer service has definitely been a little bit of a lost art. And I think hopefully anybody who listens to this or watches this will just re-energize that and switch their thinking. So thank you for helping every agent win.
Absolutely. Happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you, brother. Have a good one.
Absolutely.